Welcome back, everyone, to the University Alliance Cup Wild Rift. And wow, that was a very exciting previous game. Very dominant performance by the Faith Bravehearts right there. Unfortunately for LG Esports, they faltered. Like Deep over here said, they have 1 week to review their games and hopefully bounce back. But this time around, we will be having a Group A game featuring CPU Golden Lions versus the UST Teletigers. What are your thoughts on this, Sneep?
Yeah, so if you take a look at what happened yesterday, so the Teletigers, they went 0-2, and it was I'd say a pretty painful game for them. Whereas if we take a look at how CPU played yesterday, they went 2-0 and they had an extremely impressive performance. They they had a perfect game in game 1, and coming into game 2, they ended up with they only gave up like 2 deaths. So CPU, I think definitely the favorites to come here, whereas the Teletigers, they're looking to bounce back. They're looking to collect those points and make Bowie from what happened yesterday.
Yeah, that's true, especially with the system that we have. It's not usual for the UAC to adopt this sort of system where it's a best of two, and if it comes to a draw, it's only 1 point for both teams. But if it's a 2-for-0 stop, then it's a full 3 points for the winner. So that's definitely an area, an aspect of the system that the Teletigers can take advantage of if they can bounce back, find it within themselves to bring out that Teletiger legacy from all of the other esport titles that they have from their brother teams in the other esports. So something very exciting definitely for this match, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited as well. And again, the University Alliance Cup would not be a thing without our amazing sponsors and partners. The UAC is powered by Globe Telecom, our official telco sponsor, ASUS ROG Phone 5, our presenting sponsor, Logitech, our gear partner, as well as Riot Games, our publishing partner, and of course, Twitch Student, our platform partner. So thank you all to all the partners. Check out all of them, guys. It's amazing products, amazing services, and you know, I'm looking forward to these games. I really want to see Teletigers make a bounce back because traditionally, Teletigers have been that really strong collegiate team. When it comes to League of Legends, so
True.
I kind of want to see them do the same when it comes to Wild Rift. I know the games are completely different, the controls are different. There's a lot of things that aren't really applicable for when you're playing LoL PC, and I guess there's that adjustment period that needs to be made.
Yeah, and not a lot of time was given to these teams, might I add, for that so-called adjustment period. Even though there's a lot of familiarity with the champions themselves, there's a lot of differences when it comes to the timing, the tempo of the game, how fast the gold is generated. But let's set that aside for now because it seems like we are jumping into the draft of this game right now. We do see that the bans have been laid out for both of these teams. It's going to be the Lee Sin and Akali for the side of UST, Teletigers, and that Diana and Ziggs ban, I believe, for the side of for the other side.
Yeah, and I mean, this does leave a lot of options open. As for your first pick, I think Gragas or Camille is probably the most standard options here. Would you agree there, or do you think there's anything else that they'd pull out here as their first pick option?
There is that Galio possibility, but I personally like to give a lot of weight to that Gragas because Gragas can be flexed at a maximum of like 4 roles. So that's top,
Yeah.
jungle, mid, and support. So that's a lot of room to maneuver. Not really showing the other team what your plan is for the draft. So I'm expecting maybe a Gragas pick here, possibly a Galio,
Ooh,
but no, it's
Garen.
gonna be a blind pick Garen.
Okay, so this is something that we've been seeing a lot yesterday in day one of the University Alliance Cup. They really like this Garen. They think it's a really strong pick. It's kind of hard to deal with when you don't have that damage and whatnot. But and it kind of shuts down that Fiora pick as well. Like it's kind of sketchy picking Fiora into Garen, but we do see that it's gonna be the CPU roster taking both the Camille and Gragas, both of, in my opinion, the power picks that are available in this champion pool. And how is UST going to respond to that?
it's hard to respond to because if you think about it, Gragas is actually a natural counter pick to the Camille because his ultimate deals so well with the Hextech ultimatum of the Camille, but they do lock that in with the Camille. So it's gonna be very hard to draft around this, but it seems like UST say no and just confidently lock in this Tristana and Olaf. Seems like they want to be drafting a comp that just runs in as one solid 5.
Yeah, and I mean, I can respect that, you know, not really regarding what the enemy team is doing and just sticking to their guns, sticking to the strategy that they have in mind. But that Camille Galio combo is something that I personally would not want to give up to any team, especially when you have that Gragas on top. So CPU, I think if we're talking from a traditional standpoint, they've got all the picks they need to succeed. But at the same time, if you have a strategy that you've been practicing for, if you've been practicing time and time again and working on the execution, then it doesn't really matter what you pick because you kind of have the upper hand, I guess, in terms of that execution. So it really just falls on UST to see if they can make their champions work.
Yeah, that's true. Like just looking at the completed draft of Teletigers right now, obviously in terms of power picks, they do fall short versus the Golden Lions. But like you said, if this is what they have been preparing for, then they can make this work. Olaf with that Seraphine is a very good synergy. Follow up coming from that Rakan. Rakan can even go in for that engage with the Grand Entrance paired with the ult. But seems like the Golden Lions here opt to secure that last pick Braum, which is very atypical because you usually see Braum being taken a bit early because it is a very high priority support pick. But there were just a lot of power picks left available still after the pick and ban. So this isn't really surprising, but I would have to give my bias towards Golden Lions draft for now.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same boat with you. And the thing I really like about the Braum pick is that it kind of helps deny a lot of the things that these champions do on the side of the Teletigers. It completely stops the Seraphine ultimate in its tracks, and it also blocks the explosive charge. So like if the Tristana wants to pop explosive charge onto the tower, you can stand in front of it, pop your shield, and you end up drawing tower aggro, which is pretty funny to see. And it looks like we're now loaded onto the game. Level 1s, what are you expecting? Are we going to expect anything spicy or interesting here?
I was expecting something to that extent because we did have that Olaf, which can go for those invades, but seems like it's going to be a very passive state for the early game. For now, it's just going to be a leashless... Actually, both teams leashing their junglers right here. And I feel like both of these teams are just going to be progressing towards the opposite sides of the map.
Yeah, and we do see that there was a bit of a dance between the support and mid laner of Teletigers and CPU. They really wanted to fight for that Vision Scrying Bloom. However, it looks like that did end up going in favor of the Teletigers. Both supports now rotating towards this bottom side. Do you think we'll be seeing any action when it comes to this 125 Scuttle Crab? Are they going to fight for this, or is this something that they're just going to handshake?
Well, let's see what this Camille, Wisdom on this Camille plans to do. It seems like he's gonna be pathing towards the blue buff on their side. So it seems like no action just yet. It's just gonna be a trade between the Scuttle Crabs, and that's really gonna be good for the Camille because in terms of early game, Camille does lose against that Olaf. So them pathing opposite each other is gonna be great for that Camille. It's safety in terms of being able to scale and build that Triforce, which it's the very core item that Camille needs to flourish.
Yeah, and it looks like the Scuttle Crabs will be picked up right off the bat. Looks like there won't be any trades, won't be any duels, but this Olaf is posturizing on this top side of the map. Not sure what he wanted to accomplish there. Might just go take the Krugs. You know, whenever I see the teams go for this Krugs so deep, you know, I kind of get scared for them, but it does seem to be pretty standard in terms of how pathing goes once you take the first Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, that was a bit close. It was almost steal from Lokage there on the Gragas, but thankfully there was lane priority from the Garen to help support that Olaf invading that Krug camp of CPU Golden Lions. But meanwhile, it seems like not a lot of action going on really right now in the early stages of the game. It seems like it's going to be very peaceful right now heading into the preparation for that Dragon take. I'm actually thinking if both of these teams will opt to contest that first dragon, because that's usually the case. We don't see a lot of cross-map plays being done in the collegiate scene, but I do believe that could be an option for either of these teams in this game.
Yeah, we are slowly approaching that dragon spawn. Just only 1 minute and 15 seconds left till the dragon spawns. Till I think we'll see a lot of team fights. The ultimate is available by the Camille. He will lock up the Rakan. Rakan cannot get away, but it does not last long enough, and he will be able to flash out. The damage is being done on both sides. Camille actually getting pretty low, but nothing will happen, and that will be a 0-for-0 exchange. But a lot of ultimates and a lot of summoner spells were burnt right before the dragon spawns.
Yeah, that's a really good play, I would say, for the side of Teletigers, burning those ultimates, not giving up any of their lives. That forces the Camille back. That's basically tempo for Chaos on this Olaf to do whatever he wants to prepare for this dragon fight. Seems like he's just gonna be finishing off that red buff and taking a recall for himself. And picking up that early page, actually, that's gonna be helpful in chasing down opponents in this upcoming dragon fight. And it seems like both of these teams will be opting to contest, even though this is an Ocean Drake, which isn't really the best Drake to fight for.
Yeah, the Ocean Drake only provides you with that 6% lifesteal and spell vamp, so it's not very noticeable in this early game, especially when you don't really have that much damage to really show how your healing is going. But we do see that the Gragas has recalled. He is already pathing towards this dragon. Garen a bit late on his response, and he hasn't been able to buy any items either, so I think this is an advantageous position for the side of CPU Golden Lions.
Yeah, that is true. I agree with you, but it seems like both of these teams are hesitating to be the first ones to pull the trigger on this first Drake, and I believe that's a smart choice because both of these teams do have engage potential, and nobody really wants to be stuck in that dragon pit, tanking up the dragon damage first. So it seems like, yeah, both of these teams are just going to be pulling back. Seems like Wisdom has another plan in mind though, but he kind of double takes and just backs off from starting that dragon himself.
Yeah, so you see that Tokage has again passed back towards the top side. No one really wanting to commit to the dragon, so this might end up creating an interesting situation where both this dragon and Rift-Tailed are going to be up, and we might be seeing some objective trades being the opted play for this first few minutes of the game. Another thing that these teams are looking for is potentially taking the dragon once they've secured their big item spikes. We can't really see the items at the moment, but I'd imagine these players are extremely close to securing their first big item of the game.
Yeah, that's true. You do see Tokage hovering here over the mid lane, but he does see that Garen over the top lane is pushing the wave, pushing down the tower, so he has to be forced to go back to lane right there. And something interesting is this Gragas is actually building AP. We see the electrocute being taken for the runes, so it's not going to be a tank Gragas. Interestingly enough, as we do see again another attempt for both of these teams to take control over the area around the dragon, but still no one is pulling the trigger as we do see the Rift Herald is about to spawn.
Yeah, I do think this is partially because they're kind of concerned about not having enough damage. Oh, it is going to be a tank Gragas. Okay. So opted to go for the electrocute, even though he is building tanky. If we take a look at the items, we do see that the Camille is still a bit far off from that Triforce. Ooh, here comes an engage on that bottom side. Will they be able to get anything out of it? We do see that the Tristana has been knocked out. That's a lot of CC being applied. Are they going to go for more? This Rakan is getting quite low. Only 2 more hits left, but he does have that Gargoyle Stoneplate Soul almost being taken down. Meanwhile, in that mid lane and in that top lane, they were able to go for that turret push, but this should be the dragon for the side of the CPU Golden Lions.
Let's take a look at that replay. Although the Hero's Entrance doesn't land onto anything, just that follow-up Hextech ultimatum from that Camille. No more Buster Shot there available for the Tristana. Leads Shotty to fall down and soon after support as well. So really good early 2 kills from the CPU Golden Lions. Rewards them with not only the dragon, but also the turret here in the dragon lane.
Yeah, so that's going to be the first dragon. That's going to be the turret. But if we take a look at how the gold is looking at, we do see that it's exactly even despite everything that happened. And I think a big part of this was CPU spent a lot of time investing in trying to hover for this dragon, that the rest of the Teletigers were able to just keep farming up, keep staying relevant, and I do think that's kind of what they need to do given their team composition. They have that late scaling champion on that Tristana, so there isn't really a need to be aggressive. There isn't really a need to rush things. But at the same time, those kills did go onto the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa already has Executioner's Calling on top of that Blade of the Rune King. And I think they're looking a bit stronger in that regard. And I just realized that the Rift Herald was also taken. Who ended up getting that objective? Okay, so the Olaf ended up getting the objective. So I think that's a pretty smart play from Teletigers. They lost Dragon, they lost bottom, but they also got top and Rift Herald as a trade.
Yeah, that is true. That's gonna be opening up. Oh, hold on right here. Engagement coming in, Hellstrike Ultima, and that's the life of Shotty. Falling down as well. The fight is not over. Gragas coming in right here.
Wow.
Encore getting pulled out. That's a massive ult combo. But Galio coming in with a hero's entrance stops the fight. And it seems like both of these teams are gonna just decide to back off. But wow, CPU Golden Lions right there pulling the trigger. That's another 2 kills to their side.
Yeah, and let's take a look at exactly what happened once again. Again, it's gonna be the Tristana getting picked out. She isn't unfortunately able to escape. And I do have to commend Teletigers for their attempt at that re-engage. The Rakan into the Seraphine was actually quite promising. It's just that they didn't have the damage follow-up. They didn't have the Tristana. And if you take a look at their team composition, they're actually kind of lacking a bit, I think, in the damage department. So a lot of eyes are going to fall onto Shoddy. They can't really allow him to die, or else the Teletigers team composition just collapses on itself.
And right now seems like Golden Lions not letting up tempo. Seems like they want to be taking down this tier 1 tower in the Baron lane. 4-man strong. Galio is heading up as well. No heroes entrance yet available, and I feel like that's why they pulled back. But like you said a while ago, Nip, Kai'Sa is fed. Kai'Sa is also a very strong scaling AD carry that can tear down the guy. But oh my gosh, almost taken down again is Shotty, but thankfully gets the rocket jump outside.
Yeah, Shoddy really needs to be careful, or else he's gonna have a hard time, and the rest of his team won't be able to do much. We do see that that's 3 members rotating towards that top side. I really like this play by the CPU Golden Lions. It's decisive, it's aggressive, but Teletigers, they're also making decisive calls. They have that Garen, they have that Tristana, who can push turrets equally as fast when you have that satchel charge, when you have that E available on the Tristana.
Yeah, it seems like they won't be able to take down that tier 2 tower in the Dragon lane. However, since they were just a bit behind on tempo right there, we do see that the Golden Lions were the first to decide to pull the trigger on that macro play in the top side. It was a response by the Teletigers. It was a good attempt at the response. It was a cross-map play, but just a bit behind right there. And as we do see right now, second Dragon is soon to be spawning, but 2 members of the Teletigers are still on top side of the map, so not really sure who will be able to secure the control over River heading into this fight just yet.
Yeah, so Garen does have that teleport available. It looks like they're going to be trying to put pressure on the side lanes with that Rift Herald and with that teleport, and hopefully force an uneven fight, force a 5v4, something along those lines with this Dragon, because Infernal Drake does add up. It's something that you can't really dismiss, or else you will get punished for it, because that 6% damage does add up over time.
That is true. Right now, however, the tempo is on the Garen against this Gragas Tokage. Really has to play safe right here, getting pushed in. Meanwhile though, CPU Golden Lions opting to go for mid instead, really catching off guard the Teletigers right here.
Yeah, so it's gonna be the mid lane push. They are almost close to the end of this turret, but they do need to be careful, as this might be a collapse on the side of the UST Teletigers. We do see that damage is going down. That was actually a really good encore coming in from Lazuli. They are able to get the pick onto Soul. Bit of an overcommit there, but now the score is still 1-5, and honestly, it's still anyone's game. The gold lead is dead even for both of these guys.
This is indeed anyone's game, and something to keep in mind as well. Kai'Sa is going to be the only form of DPS on the side of Golden Lions. Meanwhile, there are 2 tanky boys on the side of Teletigers, so that's something that the Teletigers can play for. They do have the sustain coming out from this Seraphine, so in extended fights, it might be skewed towards the Teletigers if they can really play it out slowly and carefully.
Yeah, so the unfortunate thing there for the Teletigers is that the recall timings were a bit awkward, so CPU does have priority. and I don't think the Teletigers are going to be able to contest this Inferno Drake. Whoa, flash in, that's a heavy commit, but no cigar there. They're not able to get the steal. Now the Olaf is stuck in the pit. They are able to trade 1-for-1. The Garen has teleported in. He's by himself. We do see that the CC is being applied. Great set by the Rakan. The Tristana is putting a lot of damage down. There's no one there that can stop her. Tristana is by himself with the Gragas, but I think the Teletigers are actually the ones who come out on top despite all that happened, even though they lost that dragon.
Let's take a look at that replay, how all of that went down. Started with a flash in from Chaos right there. He gets shot in the pit, he falls down, and second to come into the fight is Kaiser. Tanks up so much damage, dishes out Dimash and Justice as well, but Shotty with a follow-up damage on that Tristan was huge too.
And we do see that fights are still breaking out. They are trying to commit onto Shotty. The Gragas, the Galio, does a lot of damage. Almost got a double kill with just 1 Q. But the Teletigers are able to walk away with their lives. However, here comes the retaliation from the CPU Golden Lions. They know that they have to recall, so they're going to do what they can to just push, take the 3 objectives, and potentially get positional advantage over this Teletiger team. But even still, the Teletigers, they're still ahead in gold by roughly 600.
This is the point in the mid-game where all of the outer tier 1 towers are now gone. It's only the tier 2 top. The map has been opened up, and this is where we can see either of these teams pull out their macro plays in the mid-game. It's gonna come down to who can play vision better, who can play the tempo, apply the right amount of map pressure better from both of these two teams, because right now it seems like no decisive call just yet, since this is basically the aftermath of those two extended team fights that just transpired a moment ago.
Yeah, so the Teletigers, they're in the driver's seat right now. They have the momentum, they have the items on Tristana, and we are kind of reaching this late game stage where the Baron is now up, the Elder Drake is now up, and these teams, they need to be careful. They need to make their decisions wisely, or else they're gonna have a lot of trouble. And I do like how the vision is being distributed across the map. It looks like the CPU side, they've got strong control on that bot side river, whereas if we take a look at the Teletigers, their vision control is more centralized towards that Baron pit, towards that top side of the map. So it's quite an even distribution in terms of vision control right now.
Because if the wards don't spot anyone on one side, then most likely your opponents would be on the other side. So it's just the same thing, just switched back from both of these sides. So it seems like both of these teams are really being meticulous, moving around the map, trying to set up picks here. Soul is positioned here in the advanced brush in the mid lane, but he gets snuffed out by that skill check from Lazuli. Really disciplined maneuver there. I think that's one of the key things that teams in the collegiate can learn to do, using skills to check brushes, because that's going to be very key for both of these teams heading into we are already in the late game, and the dragon is soon to spawn again, short of 45 seconds right now.
Oh, here comes the flash engage. It's onto the Tristana, I believe. Here comes the follow-up by the Galio, the hero's entrance. Shoddy, he's getting a free hit. He does need to be careful. His positioning is jeopardized. He's forced to go over the wall. But I do think that Kaiser's now here in the backline. Will he be able to make anything happen? It's just the spinning Blade right now, and he's forced to flash away and escape. Saudi's still trying to do what he can, but it looks like that team fight did go in favor of the CPU Golden Lions. That's a 2-for-0, and they're looking at Baron right now.
And it's true, as we do see in this replay, flash engage from that Camille. Really good combo. That synergy from Wei Zhao and that Galio really did so much, while the Kai'Sa was just free hitting right there onto the backline, forces Shotty to jump out as well. And really playing the HP game by the margins right there, CPU. And they are on the Baron right now, and they have secured it.
Yeah, it looks like they're still going for more. They want to go for more fights. This is the Garen by himself. He does need to be careful as he's been locked up by this Camille. Will attempt to ultimate, but not enough damage, not able to execute. And now it's the CPU Golden Lions with that 1,000 gold lead, with 5 members with that Baron buff. And this Elder Drake is now up, and the Teletigers, they're on the back end. They're trying to come back from this position.
Yeah, it seems like a momentum switch right there, which started from that beautiful commit by Wisdom on this Camille. We really are now seeing the power of the synergy between the Camille and the Galio pick. They are getting rewarded by their proactivity, and right now they are trying to secure their next reward in the form of this Mountain Drake.
And the Tristana is just nowhere to be seen. Tristana was all the way in the top side, So it's up to Chaos once again. Does not have the flash. Seraphine's gonna do what she can, but it won't be enough. The smite does go down, and that's gonna be the Elder plus the Baron for the side of the CPU. And it's really looking grim now for the Teletiger squad. I'm not sure how they can come back from this.
Something we failed to see is that Kaiser in this game was actually taken down before that Mountain Drake fight, and I guess that's what prompted the Teletigers to just back off, try to find tempo in the side lanes, but that's just not gonna cut it. Right now, it's a Baron-empowered CPU Golden Lion squad, as well as that Elder Drake, giving them true damage right there. That dot is gonna end up effective for team fights right here. They are knocking on Evan's door right now. Engage from that Rakan coming in, but there's just no damage, none at all, and it's CPU Golden Lions just standing strong in front of the base of the UST Teletigers.
Yeah, and with this, it's still 4 members, 5 members up, and I think this might just be the game. As the CPU Golden Lions continue to push in, Kaiser does try to do what he can, but there's just not enough damage there. There's not enough follow-up, and I think the zone control that this roster of the CPU Golden Lions provide is just proving to be a bit too much for Kaiser and Chaos to really get an entry into these team fights at the moment. And we saw like 3 minutes ago, the gold lead was practically even. Now, there's a 7,000 gold lead in favor of CPU.
And that's what basically a Baron can do for a team when it comes to late game. It's definitely very hard to stave off that 3-lane push, knowing that all of the lanes are being stacked with Baron empowered minions, and it's gonna be very difficult for UST Teletigers to bounce back from this, because both the mid and the Dragon Lane tier 3 towers are down. In League PC, there are inhibitors, but here in Wild Rift, these towers double as both the tier 3 and inhibitors. So it's gonna be very difficult. They have to find the pick somewhere, but the problem is their pick potential really just relies on the Seraphine and Rakan. But they have to respect, like you said, the zone control, the engage potential coming in from this Camille. And this Camille flash up again.
Yeah, so the Camille does have that flash up, and they are doing a lot of work here right now. We do see that they are knocking on all 3 lanes of this Teletiger side. It is a 3-1-1 positional setup right now. Tokage tries to kill Kaiser, but it looks like it's not enough. They need to be careful, as this is a 2v5. They will get the kill onto Tokage, but meanwhile, space created on the other side. That's going to be the rest of the CPU Golden Lions pushing in that top side. Olaf does engage. Here comes the hero's entrance from Galio, and even though it's a 4v4, it's now a 4v3. This might just be the game for the CPU Golden Lions. They're still alive. They're still healthy. There's 3 super minion waves knocking on this Nexus, and this might be it. This might just be game 1 for the CPU Golden Lions.
Wow, that was a very back and forth game, Nip. Through the early game, into the mid game, but just that one moment when Camille decided to just pull the trigger, that was the start of the momentum that the Golden Lions needed to propel themselves to just move forward, take the Elder Dragon from there, the Baron, and a very textbook closeout as well, having everyone distributed across all of the 3 lanes. I would say it's a very sound, a very fundamentally sound performance from the Golden Lions.
Everything from the draft to the execution to the objective play, I think was just very well played by the CPU Golden Lions. Like 4 of these members are on amateur teams at the moment, so their amateur experience really is showing. As for the Teletigers, we can't really cut them short. We can't really dismiss them, as they still showed that they still had it. They were in the game until they weren't around 16 minutes in.
Yeah, it's a very I would say a really great effort from the Teletigers right there. I feel like they were able to bring out a bit of that legacy of the Teletigers, but unfortunately we can only have one winner for all of these games. But that's just the first game, and it was quite a long game for that matter, Deep. So I feel like the Teletigers might have to consider banning out that Camille when it comes to game 2, but we'll have to see for now. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that do need to be adjusted. The Teletigers, they've been first picking Garen, I think, since yesterday, so maybe it's time to kind of evaluate what does the Garen provide to the table. Why are they picking Garen first pick? Because I do feel like the draft was a bit questionable. Like, I think almost every single role that the CPU Golden Lions had was, a peak champion in that role. And
right?
I think the champion difference did show a bit.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. We will have to see what the Teletigers pull out from their bags in Game 2. But so far, once again, the University Alliance Cup wouldn't be a thing without our amazing sponsors and partners. UAC 2021 is powered by Globe Telecom, our official telco sponsor. ASUS, ROG Phone 5, our presenting sponsor. Logitech G, our gear partner. Riot Games, our publishing partner. And Twitch Student, our platform partner. And this has been Berserk and for now, we will see you in just a bit for Game 2.
Yeah, so I mean, we are gonna keep staying. We're still on camera,
Oh,
guys. Don't go anywhere. We're just vibing. We're
okay.
chilling. Yeah, so we're chilling until game two starts. The players, they're already loading up. They're waiting to join that lobby. So, you guys get to still see more of us. And I mean, further, let's switch topic. Let's go a bit on the casual side.
Sure,
Interview.
sure, sure.
Word on the grapevine is you're currently coaching an Icon Series team for Wild Rift. How's that been like?
It's a very interesting experience, like my experience in esports, it's mostly been revolving around being a player myself. Being in a position of coach is very interesting. I'm not wearing the Tyrant jersey, right? I'm wearing the Bren jersey. They kind of look alike. They're both black, but actually we're not gonna come into break, and we're just gonna head right into the second
No,
game,
okay.
Nate.
So short interview, cut that short,
Yeah, cut
and
that
let's
short.
see what changes for this draft. So, I do feel like the strategy for the CPU Golden Lions is that when they draft on the blue side, they kind of want to keep both Camille and the Collie open, and kind of force the enemy team to just give them the choice. Diana is also another option that's here. So maybe we'll see like a Ziggs and Gragas ban from the side of CPU Golden Lions. We'll find out. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and another pick that they could have opted for was that Jana, because Jana can basically how do you say, just negate the Hextech ultimatum coming out from that Camille. But they were kind of forced to pair the Olaf with that Seraphine, but that didn't
Yeah.
really work out in the end
Okay.
because they fell back. They fell back, and the damage aspect, like you said, was really
Yeah.
lacking
So
heading into the late game.
So I did call the Diana and Ziggs ban from the side of CPU, so I'm expecting a Kali or Camille as the first pick. Or Gragas. A Kali, Camille, Gragas, I think is what CPU is trying to decide what they want to pick right now. And as for Teletigers, are we gonna see the Garen again? Um, I'm not sure. I mean, if we do see the Garen, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think the Garen was awful. I just think it was not optimal, if that makes any sense. Well, what do you think about the pick?
The Garen, I think it actually performed very well in the early and mid game. He was actually able to secure like permanent priority. At one point, he had like a more than 1,000 gold lead against the Gragas, his counterpart. But just the mesh of the Garen with the overall team comp, it was a bit difficult to pull off. I feel like it would have been better to sacrifice a bit of that lane priority to get some more damage out there, a bit more follow up, because there was that Rakan getting locked in later on. So I'm not really sure if Garen was the best pick as well as you. So I do agree with you. I think that in terms of the first pick, however, for the side of the Golden Lions, uh, I think I'd like to see some Camille again because it really worked out for them last game.
Yeah, so Camille is again on the table. I mean, let's do a list, So, what's available at the moment? Gragas, Akali, Camille, Fiora, maybe.
Galio's up as well.
Galio as well. We could see a Camille Galio. Actually, that could be an option, Let's say CPU takes the Gragas or Akali. UST responds with a Camille Galio. That's not a bad option. I'd really like that. As for like the 80 carries and supports, the Braum is out of the pool. So I think this kind of opens up a lot more utility champions to come in. You can also play the Alistar as an option as well. But we'll see. The players are still loading up. So since bans aren't supported, within the game itself, you are kind of seeing a sneak peek of the bans before we actually head into the actual drafting phase of the game, guys.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. It seems like both of these teams are really putting their minds into the draft, and obviously drafting plays a huge role in competitive games, just like these, because this is what basically sets you up for the whole game. It kinda skews what your destiny could be. Because if you draft wrongly, then that's something that's gonna be taken advantage of. If you draft right, then even if you head into the late game, if your team comp is very synergistic, there's a lot of cohesion there, then you can still win despite the deficit. So I really like emphasizing the importance of draft, especially now in Wild Rift where not there aren't a lot of open champions yet, at least compared to LoL PC.
Yeah, there's only what 50 champions in the game so far, so this does kind of limit how you play the game and how you kind of create strategies with the draft. But at the same time, I kind of like it because certain champions that would be considered maybe broken, you're kind of forced to be resourceful with the champions that you have. So you see stuff like Garen, which I think you'd probably never see in LoL PC, being played. You see stuff like Fizz, Annie to an extent, and I think it's refreshing. But it looks like we're still having the players load into the lobby, and I mean, I don't really know what to expect. Like it's hard to predict what UST is gonna draft after seeing the Garen Olaf combo that they pulled out in the previous game.
Yeah, I do feel that they're gonna sub out that Garen pick, or at least if they are going to draft that Garen, I think they shouldn't just pick it first because there's so many options in terms of power picks available for picking, and most of these options are actually flex picks. So there's that Camille, there's that Gragas, there's that Akali. What else? We've even seen Galio top in the past, so that's gonna be a possibility too. I don't know if the players on these teams are prepared to run that sort of setup, but I do see the counter has resumed here, and so I'm very excited to see what CPU decides to pick up first among the available power picks.
Yeah, so my bet is on Akali or Gragas. I guess we'll find out. 4, 3. Okay,
It's
Camille.
the
Okay,
Camille.
I mean that's fine. That means you prevent the Camille Galio from being a possibility. But this gives the Teletigers an option to take up the good picks. They can go. Okay, so there's the Akali that I was kind of expecting the CPU Golden Lions to take up, and they can also go for the Gragas. Gragas, like you mentioned earlier, it's a great champion. You can flex it in 4 roles.
There you
Okay, it
go.
will be the Gragas, and now they get the Galio. So they kind of Okay, so now CPU gets the Camille Galio combo, and they're actually gonna take away the Garen from Chaos there. I guess they were tired of Chaos playing Garen, and maybe they'll just pick it up for themselves. But I do think this is an opportunity to go for Galio, because this
Let's
does...
go.
Okay, so Camille Galio, and this does reveal that it's gonna be a Camille jungle for this game.
Yeah, it's very interesting right here. Another option that the Teletigers could have done was just take away the Galio. But they do prioritize those power picks in the form of Akali and Gragas. I think it's fine. But I personally have witnessed a tank Gragas building
Ooh.
Force of Nature first against an Akali. And that's gonna be very hard to deal with if you're the Akali. But we do see that Leona getting locked, and I'm particularly excited to see this pick and support in action.
Yeah, so Leona hasn't really seen much play. I think the problem with Leona is that she's a bit squishy in Wild Rift, and
Right.
she doesn't really have a way to get out once she goes in, and I think the range of her skills aren't exactly the best. But again, another interesting support pick. We actually do see Soul locking in the Nami, another pick
Whoa.
that we don't see too often, but I can see it working. The Nami tidal wave is something that can really deny an entry. The width of that Nami ultimate can just really block an entire lane out and just stop the team in the tracks.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Nami pick is very workable. I think it's really gonna come down to how the Golden Lions play out the team fight here for themselves, because if they decide to just jump in, that kind of exposes their backline from getting engaged on by this Leona. This Akali can just jump if she gets a flank. So it's like a chicken or the egg thing. So are they gonna decide to pull the trigger right away? Because they have done that in the previous game, but this time around their backline is pretty for the lack of a better word, and the most common term to say is they're just squishy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, Tristana's kind of gonna be left to defend for to defend for herself, you know, this game because the Leona is kind of wants to go in, the Gragas kind of wants to go in, the Kali kind of wants to go in. So there's no one looking an eye out for the Oriana or the Leona, and we'll see how they adapt. So going into this level 1, are we gonna see any interesting strategies pop up? Looks like it'll be pretty standard, and we do see that both junglers are actually starting on the same side of the map.
Ooh, this is gonna be very interesting. It's very rare that we see a 3-camp clear on the side of the blue buff from any team, be it in collegiate or professional. So I do expect both of these teams to converge onto the Baron lane Scuttle Crab, unless Wisdom decides to go for bottom lane, which he might do because looking at it, it's a ranged versus melee ranged matchup in the bot lane. That means lane prio supposedly. But we'll have to see if they do converge on which Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, so we do see that they possibly are. I think they're going to end up meeting each other on the top side of the map. But if I had to give a favorable opinion as to who has a stronger 3v3 on the top side, I think the CPU Golden Lions are a bit stronger when it comes to this 3v3 fight.
And it is true. But we do see that Kali has secured the push over here in the top side. And not really committing to that lane priority right there. Really going for those trades. But Garen retaliating really well. And it seems like the timing for this Scuttle Crab is going to be very, very close for these two teams. Not sure who's going to be getting that lane priority on the top side. Because we... Oh, here we go. I think something's about to happen right here.
Yeah, so Garen has no lane priority. And this is going to actually give the positional advantage to the side of the Teletigers. And I think you might be seeing a pretty big 3v3 fight break out, possibly. No, they're just gonna play it safe. The smite does go down, and it's gonna be the Teletigers securing the first Rift Scuttler of the game. And now the question is, are they gonna go for the 2-for-2? Are they gonna double down and get the bottom one as well? Actually, no. It's gonna be the bot side of the CPU Golden Lions taking it for themselves. So what ended up happening was they were able to zone out the Tristana and that Leona, and then take it for themselves. And this kind of keeps the advantage at an even playing field, you know? The UST Teletigers won't have that 2-camp advantage over the Camille. And I think that was a really good play by the bot side of CPU.
Yeah, this is a saving grace, if I would call it. A really good use of the lane priority from coming from this double ranged matchup. It's just very hard for the Teletigers, I guess, to contest the top lane Scuttle because Akali level 3 is kinda scary, I gotta say. Just because of the kit. All those skills that she has, 1 point in each. It's hard to contest when there's an Akali in the Baron lane. But right now, things are looking pretty even for both sides. No plays just yet, but we do see Wisdom. That's a flash burn.
Yeah, so the flash burn, that's actually going to be really big because he won't have that flash up in when the dragon spawns. You know, flash is on a 2-minute 30-second cooldown, I believe. So that is a lot of time to burn, and without that flash, you're gonna have trouble.
And like you said, this Oriana, this Tristana, they're gonna be left to their own devices when this Leona Poro and this Leona decides to pull the trigger and go in. So they're gonna have to adjust their team fighting right here. As we do see recalls coming out, but I thought it was gonna be an engage from Wisdom, but I think the recalls just came in the nick of time.
Yeah, so the dragon is now up in 10 seconds. Corki does have that package available to him in 8 seconds as well, so he's probably going to recall. He went for the early Executioner's Calling, so his Triforce won't be ready just yet. If we take a quick sweep of all the other items that these players have, it's really only the Galio who has that huge power spike that's noticeable for this fight, but Teletigers, they're kind of respecting that, and they kind of opt to just back away. They don't really want to overcommit to anything just yet because, you know, throwing at Dragon for a Mountain Drake, you know, it's quite the mistake.
Yeah, no, I agree with you right there. We do see that Infinity Edge being picked up by Shotty and this Tristana as his first item. It's a very interesting pickup. We usually do see a Blade of the Ruined Kings or Shivs being picked up first because there's really no attack speed to help augment the skill set of Tristana this early. So that's very interesting for me.
Yeah, so That's gonna be interesting to see. I'm not sure how this is gonna really pan out because both of these teams, it's already 5 minutes, but they haven't really committed yet to taking this dragon. We do see that the Garen is finally making a rotation himself. The Leona ultimate burn, he's going in. However, he needs to be careful. Here comes Duke. He's getting jumped on by the Tristana. That's actually a lot of damage. Soul gets taken down as well. And that's going to be a double kill right before the dragon for the Teletigers. Chaos, he also wants more, but he's by himself. And that's going to be 3 members of the CPU Golden Lions going in. Tristana ends up caught in the crossfire as well. He gets taunted, but Orianna is there. The flash does go down by the Garen to get the kill on top of that. And I think that's extremely back and forth fight for these 2 members. And that's just a lot to process as to what happened right there.
Yeah, as we see in this replay, it started out with Dox actually just facing the Leona by himself right here. Gets tagged, gets locked down. There was retaliation from the Nami ult, but Shotty with so much damage coming out from that Tristana. And I feel like Chaos on this Gragas should have just backed off right there.
Yeah, I think they had a position to take that free dragon from what had just happened, but the overcommit there did end up costly. Shorty should have just kept on running. But yeah, let's take a look at see as who's taking the dragon now. So it's actually going to be the CPU Golden Lions who ended up with priority of that dragon. But it looks like Teletigers, they're not giving up. They're on top of the rotations. They're trying to go for the first turret instead on that top side. And the Rift Herald as well. And will they be able to go for this? They want to play it safe. And they'll just decide to back off instead.
And that space created for the Garen. Okage on the bottom side being able to secure, will probably secure this first tower. And it's gonna be a trade-off. UST Teletigers gonna be securing this Herald, I think. But Camille jumps in, Hextech ultimatum, a big fight breaks out. Great taunt by the Galio right here, but so much damage coming out from Chaos. Trades of HP back and forth, but who comes out on top? UST Teletigers being able to secure, I believe, that Rift Herald as well as win out on that team fight. But on the other side of the map, that Garen was able to take down first tower too.
Yeah, so interesting as to how that panned out. We did see the Galio being extremely oppressive, just locking up a lot of the members, and I do like that wombo combo coming in from the Teletigers. They're able to get that Gragas knock up into the Orianna ultimate shockwave, and Teletigers, they're holding their own this game. They're not giving up without a fight, and the score is now 3-5 with a Rift Herald already available for the team.
Wow, it seems like the Teletigers have remained unfazed from their Game 1 loss against the Golden Lions. Right here, really great team fight from Teletigers. It's like expected that they would win that fight because it was a 5v4 on the onset. They did sacrifice their bottom lane, their Dragon Lane tower here, and they're gonna be able to secure this Baron Lane top tier 1 tower for themselves as well. So Teletigers 2k gold up right now. Tempo is on their side. Seems like the Golden Lions are gonna be deciding to take down this mid tier 1. However, Akali, Kaiser, what can he do to defend?
Yeah, so this is going to be a great rotation coming from CPU Golden Lions. They're going to get a turret for free. Meanwhile, we do see that the Teletigers are going to look to exchange for that bottom side. But CPU Golden Lions, they're not giving up. They're immediately rotating towards that top side. And I think this is the Teletigers getting slightly out-rotated here, as they are going to give up, free gold with these turrets being taken down. Like, we take a look at the gold lead. It was 3,000 a while ago. Now it's only just 1,000.
Yeah, this is definitely an out-rotation in favor of the Golden Lions. And whoever is behind, if you can trade objectives like this effectively, even if you trade leaning towards the benefit of your team, then that's amazing. That's really great macro knowledge. That's practice in scrims showing in an official match. And the Golden Lions, even though the Teletigers have their morale still up and running, Golden Lions still, not backing down themselves. And here we are once more into the mid game, not really late into the mid game, but right smack in the middle of things. With all the side lane tier 1 towers down, it's just that one sole outer tower left on the side of the Golden Lions side. Seems like that's gonna be the next play for the Teletigers too.
And I mean, they have that Rift Herald available, so it's not out of the question. They can probably take it if they want to, but they just need to be careful as the engage potential from this CPU Golden Lion side is quite potent, is quite strong. They have that Camille Galio combination, they have that Nami ultimate, so it's really just a matter of playing it a bit slow and selecting the right fights. And I think the fight that they're looking for right now is going to be this Ocean Drake that spawns in 20 seconds.
And seems like to that in mind, however, Tokage has lane locked this Oriana, but no, actually Lazuli just decides to just go and respond to this dragon take right here. It's gonna be a follow up from Tokage though. He's gonna be following up too, but they do send the Akali to match that Garen. So that's gonna be no tank on the side of Golden Lions for this upcoming fight, but he does have that teleport. Akali does have that teleport as well. So it seems like it's gonna be a full-blown fight here sooner more than later.
Yeah, so we do see that is 3-5. This Ocean Drake is now being pushed up, and we might see a potential engage coming in from this Camille, but we'll opt to back away and instead get the priority over the Dragon. Now, when we take a look at this, it's going to be CPU Golden Lions. It looks like this Dragon is going down. Will they decide to commit for a fight? Teleport does go down by the Kali. The Dragon has already been taken by CPU. Will they commit to engage? That's a huge shockwave. No follow-up though. 4 members. And I think it's going to be the CPU Golden Lions deciding to just back away instead, while the Teletigers opt to go for a rotational trade, pushing this mid lane down. They will get that. Are they going to commit for any further? They do know that a lot of these ultimates are down. The package is not available for Corki. And they do have that Tristana at hand. They're going to continue to keep pushing. This explosive cast does pop. We do see that the Camille has gone in. Galio will follow up. Only hit knocks up 2 members. And we do see Oriana gets an exchange. That's a huge taunt, however. And we do see the Gare now going in, gets the kill onto Akali. We do the fight is now in favor of the CPU Golden Lions as Teletigers need to back off.
Ooh, Teletigers biting off a bit more than they can chew right there. They could have just focused to take down the tower and back up from there, but as we see in this replay, Engage has started from that Camille, but he was just rushed down by the damage of the Teletiger squad right there. There was a follow-up from the Garen, and also that Galio ult, but I mean, they did stave off that push, so that was really great. It was more on the Teletiger side over-committing, I would say, given the engage attempt already from Wisdom on that Camille.
Yeah, and I think it wasn't really necessary to go for that fight. They already got the free tower and the extra push with that Rift Herald because the Shockwave wasn't available for the Oriana, and the ultimate wasn't even available for the Leona either. So they were missing 2 key ultimates for their team composition, but they still opted to go for the fight, and I think they got slightly punished as a result.
Yeah, and to add to that, this Oriana, even though she can dish out damage, it's not yet at her max potential. He still has that here. It's gonna be formed into an Archangel staff sooner or later. Rabadon's is still not up. So scaling is still there, waiting to be reached by the Teletiger squad. This Oriana has yet to reach her max potential, and I feel like that's the point where they really need to go for these fights. But so far, right now, as long as this Oriana still isn't online on her 3 core items, I would have to skew the team fights in favor of Golden Lions. So there's still a small window for Golden Lions to come out across the map and pull the trigger.
Yeah, so the Golden Lions, they do have this... I feel like the tempo is actually on this Golden Lions side. Even though that they are behind 1,000 gold, I think they are still dictating the pace of the game, given that they have taken down those 2 dragons so far.
Yeah, man, it seems like with no objective top, same for that ban, which neither team will really opt to start, given that everyone's still alive. Pace of the game once again has been slowed down. We do see that the Galio has been positioned here up top. Not sure if that's the best play, since it would be great to have him at mid so he can respond to either play in the side lane. But really right now, both of these teams just biding their time, farming up a bit. But this does favor, I believe, Teletigers because Oriana gets some free time to farm up and scale like I said before.
Yeah, so the Oriana has been scaling up. I think it's still possible for Teletigers to win this, to be honest. Like, they're not completely out of this game. It's honestly just a matter of finding those opportunities where they can get that clean fight. You know, their team fights have been a bit staggered so far, and we'll just have to see. And this Garen, you know, it's quite a tanky guy at this stage in the game. It's going to be very difficult to kill.
Yeah, it's true. The front to back is very potent for the side of the Golden Lion, especially if they decide to kind of play it slow first, since they do have that sustain from the Nami, and just find that really tight sweet spot for Wisdom on this Camille to go in for an engagement. The Tigers, if they can find another pick from the Leona Solar Flare, especially towards a squishy target like the Corki, Nami, or Camille, then that might win them the team fight just outright.
Yeah, so we do see that the dragon has been started by the Teletigers. They are going to get that priority, but they do need to be careful as this might be a potential engage. The lockup has been popped onto the Gragas. Here comes the Galio, Hero's entrance as well. We'll lock up the Leona. Leona will flash away. Oriana needs to be careful. She's isolated right now. 3 members surrounding her, and she has not been able to shockwave. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, it's going to be the Tristana and Akali doing what they can to make something happen. But in the end, it's just going to be 1 kill onto that Oriana. 2 kills actually for the CPU Golden Lions, even though they did give up that dragon. And now CPU Golden Lions, all 5 members, looking at this Baron. And what can Teletigers do about this?
This is gonna be very hard. 3 members of Teletigers are full on HP here right now. No Gragas ult up front to back right here. Tanky Gragas, nice body slam right there. But where's the follow-up damage? He's just getting wrecked down, bursted down. Nice damage, nice ult coming out from Kaiser right there. But still, all of the members aside from Tagage on that Garen are up for Golden Lions. But I think the Teletigers, oh wait, let me stop myself right there. They did more than they were expected to. They stopped the Baron, found kills for themselves, and evened up the tempo as well. So I would give that to Teletigers as a really big win.
Yeah, so they traded 2 for 1 on that secondary fight for the Baron, and I think that's really mission accomplished there, you know? They stopped the CPU Golden Lions from taking the Baron buff, and prevented them from just completely blowing the game out for their victory. So with that, the game is still again in this even state, and it's another opportunity for either team to really win.
Wow, the Teletigers are really shaping up to be a potential contender in their group right here. Although they finished 1-1 yesterday in their game, right now facing up against the 3-0 Golden Lions in terms of their team score in the standings, they're proving to be a very strong contender, like I said. So right now the game, like you've said too, it's back and forth, action left and right. So many objective takes and cross maps being made by both of these teams. The game is in either of these teams' pocket. It really is gonna come out to whether or not one of these teams can find a very skewed team fight, something like a 3-4-0, a 4-4-0, or a whole ace. But so far, none of that is being the case.
Yeah, so none of that is being the case at the moment. They haven't really been able to find that convincing victory just yet. We do see a lot of happening in the mid lane. It's gonna be Leona. Shawty also goes down, and that's a huge disaster for the Teletigers, as those death timers are extremely long at this point. That's a 45-second death timer, and I think this just might be the Baron for the side of CPU Golden Lions, unless Gragas can do anything about it, possibly get the smite steal.
Oh, but he gets trapped. 2 people are zoning away the 3 members of Teletigers right here. But I feel like the Gragas, he jumps in and no steal comes out. The match and Justice comes in to secure that kill out of the Gragas, and that forces back the remaining 2 members of the Teletigers squad. Baron now in the hands of the CPU Golden Lions.
Yeah, so the Baron is now available for the CPU Golden Lions, and this is honestly their opportunity to take the game and just straight up win it right now. You know, this is the best opportunity you have to close it. The Teletigers, they're gonna have to deal with so many minion waves pushing at them. They're gonna have to deal with the increased stats that the CPU roster has, and I'm not sure if they have enough to really deal with it.
Yep, the Golden Lions have already set up their 1-2-2 strat right here. Seems like Camille will be hovering within the jungle of the Teletiger squad, really trying to find the pick right here. The tier 2 towers, fortunately, are still up for the Teletigers, so that may serve as a buffer, as well as this decision by Dux and Wisdomos to go for a recall. So it seems like they're gonna be using their tempo from the Baron Empowered Minions to just secure this Elder Drake instead.
Yeah, so they are gonna opt to just play it a bit safe, go for that Elder Drake as an option, and they do need to be careful, as you know, it just takes one wrong team fight, wrong move to really turn things into a disaster.
It seems like they're doing it very systematically though, not really over-investing people in the Dragon fight. But we do see right now, the Tigers have escorted their minion wave here into the mid lane, but they might get sandwiched here.
Yeah, there's not really much that they can do. Flash being committed onto this Leona. This Leona should blow up. We do see that a recall is happening by Tristana, but it's not going to be enough as well. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Garen is just being a monster for this Orianna, and that's going to be 3 members dead. Only the Gragas and Akali are alive, and I think this is just going to be the game for the CPU Golden Lions.
Yeah, that was basically the last-ditch effort, I would say, by the, Teletigers hoping for a miracle, just running it down mid.
Yeah, just running it down mid, but unfortunately, it was not enough. And I think that's going to be it. A few more kills possibly going down. No, we do see the Akali trying to dance around, but I think this is going to be it. It's going to be another 2-0 for the CPU Golden Lions, putting them way above everyone else with 6 points now in their Group A.
And what that means for the CPU Golden Lions is as long as they can somewhat maintain and keep their momentum going, even if they go for draws 1-1, they can still slowly rack up points. But them being in the driver's seat right now with a solid 6 points ahead of their pack, that's a lot of breathing room for them. And I think they still have 2 or 3, 3 games to their name. So, but so far, very, very impressive performance, not just from the Golden Lions, but I would have to give it to the Teletigers as well, really showing us that they are a team that should not be taken lightly.
Yeah, I think the Teletigers, even though they've lost the past 2 games, they still can be in it. Like, they're still in it, I don't think it's completely over for them. The beauty about this format is that, let's say you have a bad week, you can still secure those 2-0s in just maybe next week, get the 2-0 on Saturday, get the 2-0 on Sunday, and now you're looking at 6 points, which is honestly great.
Yeah, really great job from both of these teams so far, and that was an amazing game, but we still have a lot of games in store for everyone. But before that, once again, this has been the University Alliance Cup, and we wouldn't be a thing without our amazing sponsors and partners. UAC 2021 is powered by Globe Telecom, our official telco sponsor, ASUS ROG Phone 5, our presenting sponsor, Logitech G, our gear partner, Riot Games, our publishing partner, and last but not least, Twitch Student, our platform partner. And this has been me for Zerk with Neep here with me as well. We'll catch you in just a bit for the next game.
Why don't you watch me do my thing? Reinvent and show the world, yeah. Choose to be more, choose to be better, choose to evolve, choose to be more, choose to be better, choose to evolve, choose to evolve. Every time the world spins round, reinvent 360. We can use on this a good thing, yeah. Show the whole world, reinvent. Nobody should know stand is strong. Be a good friend. 1, 2, 3, ready to try. Why don't you watch me do my thing?
Take it to the next level with Globe's fiber, LTE Advanced, and 5G mobile connection. Now you have the power to reinvent your world. Globe.